Attention gamers, this is the tale of one brave man, who defied the odds, and challenged the social norms of the Rift as we know it today, by not giving up in a League of Legends game. This is Jimbo, and today we will share his story. You see, Lil Jimmy's life began like many others who played this tilt-inducing ruin simp. He popped a peeping Tom in the water weeds, stopped back at the shops to make sure that Fat Walrus wasn't slacking off, and then headed down to position himself for some giant golem slaying like any other day. But little did he know things were about to go very wrong. You see, I was on the team whose goal was to ruin the day of this ruined king along with Super Mario's angry uncle, who was positioned to claim his squatting rights over their enemy team's blue buff. And since I've watched Ocean's 11 at least 3 times, I felt qualified to devise a very elaborate plan of how it should be, and despite some doubt in my schemes, I held up my end of the bargain by almost blowing our cover, but the heist was still successful. Hashtag tilted Tommy incoming, I'm thinking as I channel my 7th grade-esque play it cool Rav and maybe she'll kiss you nonchalant attitude, heading back to lane only to see that the Mad Mafia man wasn't done. So I opened my GPS, plugged in more Cheese Street and followed it all the way to a fat freaking first blood. So Jimbo here, who was currently on a 3-game losing streak, was already dead with his first 2 camps stolen from him, while our team's jungler took the opportunity to stack more tilt on top of the tilt he already ordered for these scrubs by immediately heading mid to bitch slap a brain wearing a hazmat suit, and a small peek 5 minutes into the future shows that their bot lane wasn't exactly off to a great start either. Now, considering we are living through the FF15 Go Next era, I don't think anyone would be surprised if I were to say Jim Bean typed Team Diff deemed this one a lost cause and went to watch some Rick and Morty. In fact, 71% of you said you would have given up and gone next if this happened to you. So I am talking to you, the Anivia who spammed FF from the 15-minute mark and flamed us as if we were clinically diagnosed with stupidity for not saying yes when we literally went on and won that game by 22 minutes. I'm talking to you, the Silas on my team who started 6-0, died once and immediately opted to give up, saying it was time to go next only to not get his way and literally troll until the easily winnable game was lost. I'm talking to you, the Rengar who, while we were baking a dank double in the Dutch oven down bot lane, was busy proclaiming that he was going AFK not 10 minutes into the game, only to double down on this deluxe douchebaggery by running it down. I'm talking about how it wasn't hard to find these examples because they happen literally every f***ing game in the current state of League of Legends, but Jimbo took a different approach to the adversity, one that I respect enough to one day tell my grandbabies about.
This could be the greatest night of our lives, but you're gonna let it be the worst.
And I guarantee you, we will go by in your life. You won't regret walking out, letting them get the best of you.
And I'm gonna stay right here and fight for this lost cause.
Failure is not an option.
That's how winning is done.
And they will know what we can do.
So I invite all of you to sit back, relax, sub to my channel because YouTube probably unsubbed you, and listen to the heroic tale of Jimbo, who I, after knowing him briefly, would be honored to have him slap my tits and piss in my Cheerios. Now for context, I was playing the PMS Puddle Prom Queen with the goal of making a video on how Morgana is the most elo inflated champ in the game, having only one argument, which was that her Q duration lasts for a short eternity. And I committed hard to getting this footage. I even asked a bunch of very high rank supports to help me make my point.
I can tell everyone that Morg is elo inflated, thank you. Rav, I got bad news for you, bro. Morgana kinda sucks.
Hun, why the f did you show that one? I told you to throw it away.
Oh, and were you just going to pretend the first game didn't happen either?
But this was the game I was going to pretend was my first attempt, starting off with a stomp as I hit a fat bait the bubble in to tie this flailing mermaid up long enough for us to play an entire game of checkers on her dying burning asshole combo for the kill. Then we see the first appearance back from Mr. Not Gonna Grief this game, Gary heading top, and clearly Tiger King Sejuani is surprised to see that he didn't rage quit as well. And what's funny is even in his post-death by douchery debut, his teammate was still about as useful as a penis on the Pope, but that didn't stop her only contribution being to steal the kill. But Jimmy Bo Viego with the victory viewpoint don't care, he'll just murder the multiple mitosis Rolling Stones then head straight back up there because that bitch riding Aslan clearly has never heard of a map, and unfortunately for her there is no escaping to Narnia in the back of that cove closet, so a quick stun slap a dad ass ensues to put Chad JB on the board. But he was still gonna have to deal with the fact that I had power move blood puddles populating the entire bot lane, and every time that slimy water wave simp wanted any human contact I was fin to show her that she wasn't the only kid on the street rocking Flash. So yeah, not a great start for these Beanie Babies, considering it turned into me taunting a stare down with the other chick trying to rock purple merch. But you can mark my word, cause I never warred when I say I had no clue JB was coming down to make a KDA comeback, and so despite a disrespectful threat of said needle, the timing of his entrance paired with Miss Fish Tits coming back meant he was gonna come down slash and ash and then make me taste our own frosted tips medicine as I queefed a cue at my chances of winning this fight, and all of a sudden the no I'm not a quitting shit stain like the rest of the league community is starting to be a good look on him. Well, until the adrenaline led him to ignore the fact that Super Shotgun Mario was still rocking both a level and a dick diff to this story's oh so rootable protagonist. That said, I too wasn't going to let my mental tank from one shitty gank because I was still peeing in the tall grass down here and no one was going to interrupt me like this dumb sushi slut, so I made Nami say nani as my ash defied the odds by still finding a way to die during that pick, and we settle for the 1-for-1. And I know some backseaters are gonna say, but Rav, why did you back off? You could have used any of your abilities that were all still on cooldown to get baited into giving Tumble Twat a double kill there, but I prefer to be a patient zombie prom queen. Let this la loser think she has a shot and then introduce her to the man who Riot took a cigar away from. #buckle up backseaters, because Rav Daddy is driving this bish. And it's worth noting the first surprise you a dead bitch from the shrubs worked well enough for me to immediately encore that shit with a little bursty girl game of grab ass with Miss Tumble Tits. But just because Giga Chad Viego's road back to relevance was the same road that dumbshit Tiger Rider was blindly riding in the wrong lane on, I wasn't just going to roll over and say take the LP out of my ass when you are in there, as I bubble wrapped myself to counter the tsunami, then killed the koi fish before looking that purple dart farter in the eye and saying you can slap me around all you want, but at the end of the day you are going to be gone and I will be gold. Stuck forever in gold. And while Nami being a world-class twinkle dick was an advantage for me in lane, it also baited Graves into being more overextended than a seatbelt in a car crash, so of course opportunistic Jimmy B the Boy Wonder was there to collect his donation to the Make a Crazy Comeback Foundation. And somehow this led to him stealing my identity, which was weird because I never die when I play this game, but I've gotta say he wore it well, caging up Birdman, who for plot development purposes I feel the need to note that I would rather have had the last thing that came out of my asshole be my mid laner than him, and I'm lactose intolerant, and I ate ice cream last night. Anyways, word on the street there is some big-brained mastermind monopolizing the entire northern region of the Rift, so I head up there only to get cheddar monkeyed by the baby Einstein himself, so I imprison the cute little Cortex and thug life let him drown it out alone. Then I saw a somersaulting sack of free gold up top, so I tapped the tantrum tomato to give me a better view of the Ash Blaster 9000 shot from downtown Disney World, only to be caught off guard that Vayne has cleansed, as I thought that's something she would have mentioned, I don't know, any time earlier. But I empty my investment account of cooldowns to gather my gold, and then when Jimbo comes in on his epic comeback quest I get a little flashy, to add some twist to the plot. Because honestly if I didn't do that the story would just be so one-sided with dumbshit morons blindly running and somehow expecting not to get spanked like an insubordinate convent kidnapped child, imbuing the shitter with all the powers he needs to slay Legolas's wife. So yeah, I think the writers of the Jimbo biography should be thanking me for keeping it from getting stale with the same old dog water shit decision making by my team. Anyways, heading back up north, and I don't know if the one bush up there was like the designated janitor's closet in high school where all the rub tugs went down or what, but every time I went into it someone was trying to fuck me, and even though my cue struck out I had a backup plan which, not to brag, resulted in Kale flashing me her juicy dead tits. Then we shovin' like a fat WB into oven when I see this flailing gypsy siren finangling in our forest, so I send a warning cue before regrouping, slapping myself in the face, wrapping my body in bubble wrap saying you can do better Rav, and then carefully lining up a second so I could chain bang her to oblivion and flash out before that midget meth chef could eat my marbles. But things get a little wonky during the escape route as you see Echo's Uncle steal Yo Skin as Finn to dismantle our team piece by piece, having come back from something worse than death, an early game invade, on a mission to prove that all the pussies who would have rage quit 3 minutes into this game are looking like little cuck-cum marinators now with a 1v quadra worthy of taking home to meet the parents. Just look at the raw masculinity leaking out of this relentlessly ruined simp slayer, as the man who once had everything taken away from him can't even be killed during a 3-man gangbang, surviving long enough to make like a prom dress and take off. And speaking of prom dresses, my pageant ass then had a small run-in with Nami at the intersection of Get Cucked and Stay Cucked Street, which wasn't a safe place for a fragile mermaid, but it's also worth noticing fucking Jimbo was now legendary from taking the Eslon riding asshat straight to Pound Town in their base. And thus we see what could be a result of what happens when you aren't a shitty quitty pussy in a League of Legends game, as the man who proverbially had both his arms and legs cut off as a baby just finished an Iron Man in this piss pit of a game, coming back from the ghetto to invent Tesla 2.0, giving zero shits about how unfortunate his upbringing was, while thousands of pretentious piss lickers every day are issuing FF votes and crying about Team Diff in games that they are currently winning. And while I realize that the epic tale of Jimbo had an outcome that won't happen every time, and I do not want this sentiment to result in people holding others hostage every single game, I think in close games it's ruining the integrity and competitiveness to just give up when everything doesn't just perfectly go your way. So I think we owe a tremendous thanks to Jimbo for leading by example, and my hope is that others will be more like him so I can make biography vlogs on their epic lives too. Now sub to my channel, bitches. Rav out.
50 I spent on my neck, but no, really that's nothing compared to my debt. You're looking silly cause you're in your feelings, but really, oh, Rabby's up next.